Well, the Packers are not able to get it done with their second-year quarterback Jordan Love at Arrowhead Stadium, and they fall down to 7-2. A lot of things to take from this Packers loss, falling 13-7. A lot of bad things, mostly bad things, but I do think, and I think a lot of fans have kind of picked up on the silver lining that they notice in this game. So today I wanted to talk about three things that we learned in this Packers game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Now I'm going to try to take into consideration how this team might have performed with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I'll talk a little bit about Jordan Love. I'll have a subject on him. But mostly, I want to overview this team as if this was a normal Packers 2021 team performance. And we'll go with that. So let's head right into it with the first thing we learned, and that the defense is very, very good. Man, this unit right now is playing out of their minds, considering what they have gone through in these first few weeks and the circumstances they're in with a first-year defensive coordinator who had many doubters after being hired in January, shortly after the Packers lost the NFC Championship game. That was a really unnecessarily antidote, but, Joe Barry gets hired. He's failed the past few times, and people have his doubts. And he comes in here, week one, just like everything about the 2021 Packers, the doubters increase. And I even started to think maybe they were right. Maybe we shouldn't have hired Joe Barry. But then after that, everything was on a continuous slope up for the Packers and Joe Barry's defense. Man, there is a lot of good things that we have not seen in a while on Green Bay's unit, going back to not Joe Philbin. God bless Joe Philbin. Hope he's doing well. But going back to Dom Capers and Mike Pettin. A lot of changes, a lot of differences in the way this team plays. And I think a lot back to kind of the defensive revitalization, the revolution that Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith brought back to the defense in 2019. Just a whole different energy change to the defense. And I think this defensive unit has kind of been putting the pieces together over the past few years. And now we're finally seeing the result of that with a different coordinator who brought a lot of different things with him. In 2019, like I mentioned, you get Smith, the two Smith brothers, and then you also added Rashawn Gary and Darnell Savage to that mix. In that same offseason, you signed Adrian Amos. You have Jair Alexander developing as a really great cornerback. And now they put it all together, even adding a few additional pieces. Devondre Campbell this past June. So what they've been able to do just with the group of guys they've had, put them all together as a unit, and now have a top 10 defense, having an amazing performance against a generational talent at quarterback, even though he's not playing so great this season. It's really impressive to watch, and I'm so excited to see what this defense can do down the stretch with a lot of home games at Lambeau Field in the cold winter months of November, December, and hopefully far into January. The second thing we learned in this game against the Chiefs is that the special teams unit still sucks. Oh my God. I was just talking about, I was so happy. I got so much joy from being able to talk about the improvement from Mike Pettin and Dom Capers, and now I get to talk about the constant line of not even average, not even stable, like just pure garbage on special teams ever since Ron Zook, man. Ron Zook's problem was with penalties. Sean Meninga had his whole separate problems and stuff. And then Maurice Drayden kind of seems to be a continuation of that. They now have Corey Bojorquez, who might end up saving Drayden's job for at least a year. But in Bojorquez is a great punter. But today, or yesterday against Kansas City, was so frustrating to watch. And now knowing how it ended up going, the final score, it is so hard so frustrating to look back at how those two missed field goals and the muffed punt ended up affecting the final score of this game, because you get those 2 points on the two field goals on the board, making it 6, that make it 13. But then you have that punt that resulted in another 3 points for Kansas City because their offense could not do anything. That would have been 13-10 Packers, and it would have been a very boring game. And obviously, I always hate these kind of scenarios. Well, if they missed this field goal, or if they didn't fumble this, whatever, because the Chiefs are in a totally different mindset, being up 13-0 for a majority of the game than they would have been only being up 13-10. But that's besides the point. Just those 6 points, the 6 points, and then the -3 for Kansas City would have helped so much. And the special teams unit just not being able to put it together. The protection on field goals has been a problem all throughout this year. Even now getting Dominique Daphne back, we saw that with a blocked field goal. And then Hunter Bradley was cut this past week, a long snapper who they invested a draft pick in. They invested a draft pick into this long snapper, and he doesn't even last 4 years. I'm fine, guys. I'm fine. And then Stephen Wardle comes in here from the practice squad, and on his first snap, he can't, or maybe it was the second snap, but on the first snap, Corey Bojorquez can't hold it right. He has the laces outwards, facing towards Mason Crosby. Doesn't end up well. Shanks it wide left. And then on the second one, it's just a bad snap from Stephen Wardle. And, that cannot happen, to say the least. And with special teams, it's kind of an interesting thing, because the coordinator can only tell the players how to do so much. Blaming a missed field goal where it's completely on the kicker, good snap, good hold, good protection. A special teams coordinator, you can't say too much about him on that. But with these 3 examples that we had today, the 2 field goals, and then the Amari Rodgers situation where Malik Taylor touches it, some of that has to be due to Rodgers' inexperience. But at the same time, dude, Malik has got to get out of the way. He's a veteran. He should know this by now. He's worked with Drayden for at least 2 years. So, Drayden, there's definitely things you can point to where he is not doing his job quite right. And finally, the number thing we learned in this game, in no particular order, by the way, was that Royce Newman has got to go. Man, I like Royce as a depth piece. What he's done for a 4th-round draft pick, it's acceptable. But, dude, he's played solid in a few games, but he's also had a few in every game. And then also, especially today, he just cannot handle Chris Jones, which, is quite the task for a right guard. But that pretty much threw off the whole entire Packers game plan, which was also awful on the offensive side of the ball. But, there was not a single passing play where Jordan did not have to move into the second level, make a second read, try to make something that possibly wasn't there. On the last 2 drives, when the team was down by 2 possessions and had a really good chance, Jordan literally just had to throw it up there. It was second or third down, and he barely had any time to make a decision. It was third down, interestingly enough, and he did actually have Al Lazard on a wide open slant, but he just does not have any trust on the right side of his offensive line. He's like, shoot, I got to get rid of it. Let me just throw it to Randall Cobb on a cornerback who he's definitely not taller than, and it really did not end up well. So Royce Newman, as soon as David Bakhtiari gets back, I'm thinking they obviously have David at left tackle. Elton, they can really move him wherever if they want to keep him at left guard, or if they want to move him over to center if they're not pleased with Lucas Patrick. But either way, I think the interior of the offensive line is looking like Elton Jenkins, John Runyon, and then Lucas Patrick. So Royce Newman, not a great day for him today. I still think he has a lot of potential. Like I said, he's done solid in some games, and to be a day 1 starter, for a fourth-round draft pick has been really impressive, but today, without a doubt, was his worst showing. There's plenty to argue and discuss about Jordan Love and a lot of other things in this game, and I will get to that later in this week. We got a long week to go until the Packers face off against the Seattle Seahawks at Lambeau Field. But let me know if you enjoyed this video in the comments down below. If you did, make sure to hit that like button,